So, new look, just wanting to vlog because I feel like it. And so, here's the vlog. Lately I've been thinking about the usual stuff, so auto-hypnosis, and I feel as though auto-hypnosis is really great, hey, to be honest, and like autosuggestion is as well, like just kind of being aware that as a conscious human being you can use your powers of observation and language to amuse yourself and hypnotically provide yourself with self-therapy using hypnosis, you know, in an auto-hypnosis sense. And I feel like it's pretty easy to brighten your mood by just like writing an auto-suggestion, like anything positive, like even a single word that empowers you and in your life story, in your life experience, you know, like maybe a particular word or a set of words, or like, you know, these words that can be looked at as trance words, they can empower you even, you know, like just write love in a notepad or like a note app or like Obsidian or something, and they can, like, if you are feeling really low, like just that action can have rippling consequences in your psychology that is calming, because it comes from a place of power and it comes from a place of creativity, in the sense that you can take action and you can influence things in the world. And you know, it's like, I feel like a lot of helplessness, like feeling helpless and hopeless, it kind of comes from feeling like your actions don't equate to anything, or it's kind of like you're not perceiving yourself as being a human being with agency. And maybe when you're in that mind state, you don't actually have agency, you know. It's kind of like the Watiko mind virus, that notion, you know, that like our brains have this like kind of glitch, and it's like exploitable, and it can lead to like rampant capitalistic type runaway trains that, you know, put the cart before the horse, so to speak. I think that's how the saying goes. And it's like pretty cool that auto-hypnosis makes sense, and how hypnosis is accepted in academia and things like that. It's like really fucking cool, to be honest. When I was doing my Masters of Computer Information Sciences at AUT, I can recall venturing into the domain of like hypnosis related material when I was like all up on in the AUT library databases, and it really, I think, helped me to develop my understanding of hypnosis. And I feel like I have always been sort of interested in hypnosis for a while, and really I didn't start researching too much into it until probably 2017 or like 2018, when I was at Miro Street. Though I can recall when I was at Gardner Ave in like 2014, I think it was, I had a book on NLP that I was reading at the time, so I feel like my interest into hypnosis basically came from NLP. And when I started learning more about NLP, I really sort of learned that basically it's just like kind of boiled down hypnosis concepts, kind of like the evolution of hypnosis in a meta kind of sense, like, you know, just taking the core constituents of what makes hypnotic practices and techniques effective, and just like using the whole NLP notion of modeling to boil down those systems or functionality, if you want to say that, into their core constituencies in order to identify, I'm going to use a in NLP like kind of phrasing or terminology, like, to identify the constellations of success. When I heard that like constellations of success thing, I was like, shit, that's pretty powerful. It's like a nice metaphor. And I was thinking again about metaphor, like metaphor is so powerful, it's so hypnotic as well, and when you understand that, your understanding of hypnosis is relatively advanced, I'd say, because you actually understand that hypnosis and metaphor, it's like, it's more about the kind of effect it has rather than the superficiality of the surface level observable, I guess, facets of communication that can be studied easily, so to speak. You know, like if I say something to somebody who is not that adept at analysis may like just observe what is readily available and just sort of draw their conclusions from that without really viewing things in a bigger picture, so to speak, basically. I feel like with auto-hypnosis, you can just open your mouth and start talking about like really anything, and I think this is why hypnosis is pretty powerful for improvisation and things like that, because it keeps you really rooted and grounded in the moment, and it allows you to work with what's factually there, what is truthfully there, and you can acknowledge things for how they are in all actuality, in reality, and you can then decision make and remain in your like center of gravity. And that's sort of what I feel like life is kind of about. Like, it's about being within your center of gravity, and that's how you attract things into your life, because when you're in your center of gravity, it's like you're not really being pushed around, you're in your agency, you know. It's like you are within your rights to do whatever you want. When you're within that, like, kind of like flow, it's like the Donnie Darko type flow. You know, it's like when you're really locked in and you're really focusing on something, they're like, and you're actually traversing that metaphysical path towards the destination, temporarily distant destination, you know, that kind of like has dynamics to it. It has a certain gravitational pull, like it has kind of like an aerodynamic like flair to it, I feel. And I feel like when you're in your center of gravity, it really magnetizes you to the whole, like, you know, new thought or new age type thinking of magnetized thoughts, like how you attract what you think about most. I feel like to build upon that notion of having to feel very positively about the things you want to attract, it basically is like when you're in your center of gravity, you've disabled the Wetiko mind virus type shit, all that behavior, and you're like being centered in the moment, because that's truthfully where all the information is. It's only in the context of the moment, and the further away from the moment you extrapolate or traverse, it's more detached. It's a lot more lossy, and it's kind of like the really easy to penetrate software systems that are so decrepit because their logic is busted as, and it's just so like warped, and it like leads to bloat and other exploitable architectural properties in the manifested software that gets built that way. Built or cobbled or but yeah, anyways, about pen testing, I feel like the creative in me thinks about pen testing like in like a pen, like the pen is mightier than a sword, apparently. And it's like, if you can test something using a pen, like how's that go? Like, you're not gonna tap a lock with a pen and try like open it, really, like, but you may like use a pen kind of like teleologically, like as a writing tool to assess things, and you'd think about things logically and you'd express it, your line of thoughts, using writing to document your reasoning. And you know, you couple this with like the Flaw's hypothesis methodology, that approach to pen testing, and basically it's like, it's just science condensed. Like, it's kind of like, it boils down to the meta of science. Like, and I can recall watching a documentary ages ago. You know, like, humans are scientists through and through, like, animals are scientists, you know, like, that's what play is about. Play is about experimenting and just having fun and, like, being in the moment and exploratorily learning about things in a scientific way. It's, like, just so natural for an organism to, like, you know, make an intellectual probe into some domain so as to obtain information and let that information circulate, propagate through their brain so as to use that information to make further decisions. And when new information comes to light, you know, it's pretty obvious at times, depending on that information. Like, you know, when new information comes to light, certain new possibilities open up, and given your life experience, maybe you can draw disparate connections that are not so disparate anymore because of the information, like bridging the gap. You're just like, oh, obviously this may be the case, like, and I obviously feel like that may be the case, so I may as well, like, think of something I can do to test out this notion that this thing does this thing, so I may as well try this thing and see how it influences things. And I predict that if I'm right, then this thing is gonna influence that thing in this way. So that may lead me to believe that when I do this thing, it makes that thing do that thing, which means maybe I should do more of that thing, because autosuggestion is awesome. And speaking about autosuggestion again, I do actually really think that hypnotic language is super important for hypnosis and autosuggestion and stuff. Like that book, Magic Words or whatever, like how to craft really nice autosuggestions. I think that book's pretty cool, and in that book they were talking about like using the word ought rather than should, would or could kind of stuff. And it's like you ought to be really careful with would, should and could. And it's the whole NLP contextual framing, neuro-linguistic programming, the NLP frame notion from that. It's like, it's really important to, it's also relating to negative self-talk or just self-talk. Like, you want to be really, like, vigilant to make sure that the Wetiko mind virus isn't taking over. And you want to be certain you're approaching things from a perspective that holds auto-hypnosis near and dear to your heart. Because, honestly, I don't think it's so optimistic. I think it's more, like, realistic and philosophical. Like, negativity is a deviation from actuality, I feel like. And I feel like life processes, there's like a happy thing, it's positive, it's like anything is anything, and it can only have become anything because of like some happy process that made it so in the first place. And a detraction from that positive energy is actually a conceptual fallacy, is illogical, and it leads into shattered, fractured, fraudulent, DSM, schizophrenic type ontologies that are epistemologically so corrupt that it deontologically denotes people and demotes people for being like a biological being who doesn't believe in this like fairy nonsense. Like, it's just very theoretical, hypothetical bullshit. Like, I don't know, I'm talking about psychiatry. Basically, it's like the history of psychiatry. It's like you have this development of society, and you know, people are becoming more civilized, you know, and they're becoming more industrial, and I guess wealth is increasing and mortality rates are dropping and all that. And it's like it's like a detraction from tribal living. Yes, so it's like new and like it has an element of artificiality to it. And I feel like that's fine and everything. It's just when you kind of take the reductionist ways of thinking and apply them to psychology, biological organisms, it really detracts from human experience. Like, it doesn't. It's the whole like notion of reducing a human to a statistic. It's like more than a number, you know, personalities and names, and that's the whole, like, I guess in my worldview, like, names are so important. You see this in computer science as well, like, names are so important. It's like the N-word. It's like, with psychiatry, you've got one group of people subjugating people with labels that come from those people, the psychiatrists, the, like, elites. And they're just bestowing labels on people, and that, like, overrides the human agency, essentially. And it's like, really a potential flaw, like, or it is a flaw. It's like a potential threat, like, or it is a threat. You know, it's something that needs to be managed in a risk management sense. Because if you extrapolate this further, you just get some self-righteous bastards, like, glorifying what they're doing, and I guess dehumanizing people and subjecting them to basically torture, like cruel and unusual punishment that isn't punishment, it's torture, because there's nothing to punish. And, like, I feel like, just to get back on that train of thought, like, society becoming more artificial, and then, like, you get people in society, like, being insane, the ones needing to be locked up against their will, mental health act, you know, all that bullshit. Like, that's because they don't mesh with the artificiality of things. They're like, humans are real, and humans have feelings, and, you know, certain people that get let down by society, like probably the ones who often start their own businesses and stuff, like if you've just had no good opportunities, and you're like being patient and still no good opportunities, and you're just being starved left, right, and center of opportunities, then you're gonna, like, kick up a fuss. Like, you're a human being, you have energy, like you may as well just, like, hip hop, you know, just make hip hop, just make tracks, like, you know, move intelligently at that, and you're gonna take action, and you're gonna, like, just absent-minded hustle on some absent-minded hustling shit, bullshit, and you're just gonna act, and you're just gonna hip hop, and at the end of that, you know, it's probably a good thing. It may be messy as fuck, but it's gonna end up equilibriuming out, and it's gonna end up being positive. That's basically how I view my situation now. Like I really love cannabis, and I really love magic mushrooms, and I think they're really great things, and I feel like I suffer socially because people look down on these things, or there's a whole lot of stigma attached to enjoying shroomies and bud, and people distance themselves from me because I'm into these things. And this is another thing as well. Like, I guess I'll just quickly go down this track and then double back. But, like, shroomies, you know, the way I regard shroomies, it's like a playful thing, it's like a creative thing, it's like an innocent thing, it's like, I love them. Shroomies, you know? It's like, yes, rather than wearing a lab coat and chilling with some people you don't even know, like giving you blindfolds and headphones, it's like, listen to this music now, how do you feel? Oh, and how does that make you feel? Fill in this checkbox, I say, do you fit snugly into this abstract metaphysical label I want to subjugate you to? You know, kind of shit. It's just like, no, fuck, the healing of magic mushrooms comes from living life and enjoying yourself, like aloha, celebrating your life with others who are celebrating their lives. And celebrating the company of each other. And they're like, it's just a continually throughout eternity type tip I like to think about. But yeah, so basically I think my income's related to me liking hip hop and liking shroomies and liking bud. Cause like, I'm gonna be straight up, like, I'm open to working as a CIO of ICD, for example. It's just, I feel like I can't handle working for others who want to, like, I don't know, not acknowledge my skills or intelligence, and intelligence as well, kind of thing. Like, I just can't handle that. And fair enough as well. I still like money though, and so, like, you know, when I'm without money, I have no shroomies, I have no bud, I'm gonna kick up a fuss because I love shroomies and I love bud, and it's like it's deeper than my like for coffee. It's more psychological than that. It's for my psychological flourishing. Like, that's why it matters to me so much. And I really like shrooms and bud because they allow me to be creative more easily, and they help me to do things like express myself more confidently because I'm more attuned to my emotions and more in tune with reality and how things are in all actuality, and it's easier for me to deal with discrepancies and annoyances like irritation in my environments. You know, it allows me to easily express myself. I mean, I can do that with autohypnosis, which is really fucking cool, but like, yeah, I feel like cannabis is like cognizant lubricant for creativity, and I feel like shroomies are similar though. I feel like shroomies are a bit bigger than just like some opiate, you know. It's like not like that. It's not a junkie dead end type thing. It's an artistic, human, creative type of outlet. It's intellectual and it's beautiful. It's powerful. It's raw. It's natural. It's amazing. You know, it's not escaping. It's relating. It's becoming who you are. Like returning to yourself from wherever the heck you are in existence, which is not in the now, you know, if you're in hell, because that's not health. Finish your words. The source make us delectated and erudite aragonite as well, you know, kind of thing. Like hypnosis, I don't know. What hypnosis? Shit.